Every number on this enormous machine just beggars belief, and its legendary status in American railway history, plus its invaluable contributions to the American war effort during World War II, have cemented the big boy as one of the most important human inventions of all time. Combine this with the enormous number of resources on how these steam trains work, and we have the perfect benchmark to design off of. To begin the design, I needed an accurate side view sketch picture of the big boy. This image I found is from the original blueprint, so that's about as accurate as it gets. I loaded the image into PowerPoint, cropped it to the exact length, and then opened a brand new assembly in SOLIDWORKS. Here, I created a dummy part, named it Sketch Picture, and created a sketch on the front plane so that I could place the side view image we just saved. To avoid our 3D printed parts from being too small or too large, I opted for 1/32 or G scale, so I took the 85-foot 3.5-inch length of the real engine and divided it by 32 to get roughly 32 inches or 812.4 millimeters. Once the image was mirrored to start designing the left side first, and then positioned so that the forward wheel and the first set of driving wheels was centered on the origin, I started what would become 3 weeks of design work. This started with the first wheel, Wheel A, which, when completed, was copied 3 times to produce the other 4 wheels, which are simply just variations of the first. Save as copies break the link to the original, which allows me to adjust the size of the counterweight and hole pattern on Wheel B here, or add the pivot shaft and eccentric crank key on Wheel C without also modifying Wheel A. Using temporary distance mates, I floated wheels B, C, and D, and then equally spaced them 57.7 millimeters apart at their centers. With this, I could then draw up the chassis, bearing blocks, and drive wheel axles, spending way too much time reviewing reference material to somewhat base my model on reality. Big shout out to Jake over at Animagraphs for his incredibly detailed breakdown on how the big boy works. His video was one of the many reasons why I felt confident I could build this. Before designing the bearing blocks, I first selected the bearing I wanted based on the size of the drive wheel and an appropriate diameter I would use for the drive wheel axle. These 8 by 16 by 5 millimeter shielded bearings from McMaster were ideal, so I downloaded the SOLIDWORKS model and reviewed the dimensions. From there, I drew up a simplified version of this bearing using just 4 features and 1 solid body, rather than 16 solids and like half a dozen features or so. And by doing this, I simplified the hardware down to its most basic roots, which is definitely a best practice for assemblies to avoid long load times and issues with motion studies. I then used a linear pattern to space the bearing blocks the same distance apart as the temporary distance mate used for the wheels. With the rest of the chassis now designed, I could remove the temporary distance mates for the wheels and begin properly mating everything. A major control point was the rail gauge, which is 45 millimeters for G scale. So after floating the parts, I produced a distance mate from the flat of the flange on drive wheel A to the front plane of the assembly, set to half of 45 millimeters or 22.5 millimeters. Then I mated the drive wheel axles, which involved a concentric mate, a coincident mate, and using the select other box to parallel mate the key of the axle to the key slot of the wheel. I then mated the bearing using a concentric mate to the drive wheel axle and a coincident mate to the back side of the bearing block. Next, I mated the chassis by selecting the bearing and setting that to be a coincident mate to the back flange of the drive wheel axle. I mated the rest of the driving wheels to their bearings and drive wheel axles and chassis and so on. And then I went back through to make sure that the chassis was fully constrained in space. So I just simply did that by referencing its planes and mating them to be parallel or coincident with the planes of the assembly.